So we want to show you some footage and analyze that footage, some of which you have never seen before, beginning with that day in Rome in 1960. The place, the Italian Sports Palace, the gold medal at stake in the light heavyweight classification, a youngster named Cassius Clay going against Ziggy Pietrzakowski of Poland, round 2. Notice immediately, at that time, how light, how almost frail Ali seemed to be. That's the first impression you get. This is the second round. Notice, too, that Zbigniew, they called him Ziggy Pietrzakowski, is a southpaw with the right lead. This was the beginning, you must understand, of Ali's wariness against southpaws. He had trouble with Pietrzakowski. The film reveals the fact. Again, this film never seen before. He was swift of hands and swift of feet then, as swift as he would ever be. Just a kid. He knew what he wanted to do. He knew what he wanted to become. He had the quick left lead. He was yet to discover the value of the right lead against a southpaw. That would come later, with experience, with boxing wisdom. So would the weight, the upper body development. But right now, the puzzlement of a more experienced fighter and a southpaw. A puzzlement and almost insecurity that showed itself in September of 1966 when he fought Carl Mildenburg. We'll be back to show you round 3 and the initiation of the famed Ali Shuffle in just a moment.
Guilty.
Not guilty. 6 votes guilty, 6 votes not guilty.
Not again.
This could go on all day. Bailiff!
Pass out the right guard deodorant.
Good.
We got stick or spray. Right guard deodorant has all-day odor protection. Kills bacteria that can cause odor. Stick or spray protects all day. 6 took stick, 6 took spray.
Right guard deodorant. Don't get dressed without it.
Ferguson!
Sarge?
Do you have a Gillette Track 2 blade I can borrow?
Got an injector. It shaves clothes.
No! Track 2 shaves me closer than any single blade. Closer!
My razor, Sarge?
Track 2 is more comfortable than old Ironsides.
The twin-blade Gillette Track 2 does shave you closer with less irritation than any single blade.
2-day pass for anybody with a Track 2.
To guys who use Gillette Track 2, no single blade will do.
A showcase of NFL superstars, the Pro Bowl, live tomorrow night at 9 Eastern Time on ABC.
Interesting, isn't it, to look back upon Cassius Clay as a light heavyweight, even as Floyd Patterson was but a middleweight in Helsinki in 1952. Both destined in their own time to become heavyweight champions of the world. Cassius Clay at this point beginning to score with his combinations, growing in confidence, but in no way until shortly he will disclose the shuffle, evidencing the kind of cockiness, almost ring arrogance, that became a trademark during his professional career. A caution there from the official to Pietrzakowski. No matter, Clay was ready to go back to work. By this time in the 3rd round, he was confident that he had the bout in hand. Now watch the shuffle coming up. There it is. In later years, Cassius Clay, then Muhammad Ali, would say, this was in the fall of 1966, after he showed it in proliferation against Cleveland Williams, but that was when he showed it for the first time. But no, you're seeing it now. The first time he ever showed it in Rome, Italy. In its own way, symbolic of the colorful, innovative, creative personality that he would later become the most famous figure in international sports, one of the most famous in the world. So it was then. One could hardly realize that very shortly later, back home in Louisville, he would throw that gold medal into the Ohio River. But he did, and it was a precursor in its way of the life to follow. But in Rome, Italy, this, at that time in 1960. Notice, a humble youngster, just 18, no arrogance, no brashness, no gestures to show his superiority. Just a kid from Louisville, Kentucky, would become the best amateur light heavyweight in all of the world. And he was so terribly proud at that moment. A far cry from the image that would later be created. He looked forward at that moment to the playing of the national anthem and to the almost contrite acknowledgement that he achieved a lifetime's dream at the tender age of 18. Watch.
I like my chicken finger looking good.
When we want chicken, my wife says go to the Colonel.
Colonel, you got terrific chicken. I like my chicken finger looking good.
The secret recipe is what gives it its unique flavor.
We love your chicken.
I like my chicken finger looking good.
Last time I tried frying chicken at home, I just about set my apartment on fire.
I don't know very many women who can cook chicken as well as this chicken.
Colonel, you got good chicken here.
Europe's most successful new car in history comes to America. Introducing Fiesta, now imported from Germany by Ford. Fiesta, 0 to 50 in an average of 8.8 seconds. Road-gripping Michelin radial tires. The traction of front-wheel drive and excellent gasoline economy. Fiesta, Europe's most successful new car in history. Test drive one at your authorized Ford dealer now.
Sunday, on the Hardy Boys, a mysterious house and a witch girl terrify a small town. Then the death probe is back for more.
What now?
And this time it has an appetite for the $6 million man after the Hardy Boys.
Watch tonight, starting at 7, 6 Central and Mountain on ABC.
What you folks just saw was Cassius Clay at the age of 18, in a humble manner, achieving a pinnacle of his life. Cassius, now Muhammad Ali, of course, has called it a cornerstone fight in his career. Well, we want to update you. We want to take you along now, and even as you saw footage in his fight against Pietrkowski, never seen before, we want to take you back in time to an extraordinary scene. It was February 25th, 1964. That night, Cassius Clay was to fight the baleful Sonny Liston for the heavyweight championship of the world. And you remember this scene at the weigh-in? This was an apparently wild, maniacal youngster, age 22, about to fight a man who was an 8-1 favorite. He had to be restrained, his actions to many inexplicable. But for the wisdom of the sports writers in general, clearly explained as he held up his fingers, you will go in 8. And Liston reported, you will go in 2. But no, the blood pressure seemed outrageously high. And everyone concluded that it was fear of Sonny Liston. But it turned out not to be fear at all. Just minutes later, his doctor, Cassius Clay's doctor, Ferdy Pacheco, took his blood pressure, and it was completely normal. The whole thing had been an act. Let's look at what happened in the third round of the fight. There you see a youngster 22. But note the startling difference in the upper body development from what you saw at Rome in 1960. Remember, this is 1964, and you just saw a chopping right, and you'll see it again right now. Cut Liston, wide open, from the left eye down to the left corner of the mouth. Watch this. He taunts Liston, who can't reach him, with a swiftness of feet backward, just always out of range. The left, and that's the right. That's the right I mean. And for the first time in his fighting life, Liston tasted his own blood. Suddenly, he seemed an old man. Between the rounds, I was at ringside. They came out for round 4. Liston pawing with the left. He claimed later that it was in the second round that he tore muscles in his left shoulder and upper left arm. Watch throughout the scenes you're about to see how Liston keeps throwing the left in open defiance of that which he later stated. But watch how cannily Cassius Clay waits this fight. Sometimes flat-footed, sometimes taunting Liston, almost uncannily just out of range, so that the Liston left, which once seemed as long as a recurring piston, could not strike. Quickly, out of danger, like right there. Liston wildly swinging a right. But the point, Cassius Clay in boxing control, in ring center right there, scoring with the left jab again and again. Note the Liston left, just out of range. What a magnificent boxing performance. Whether you like the kid, in the wake of all the braggadocio, more will go in 4, and one after another, calling the fights in advance. He was making his words stick against the man everyone feared. And as an old man, now exposed, you could see Liston running down. But did you see those attempted lefts? No sign of a shoulder damage or an upper muscle tear in the left arm. Always the left, which had been so controlling, so compelling against every other opponent. But now, suddenly, he didn't seem big. He didn't seem terrifying. Cassius Clay, they suddenly discovered, was a bigger man than Sonny Liston, physically as well as mentally. Right there, Liston finally scored with a left, but only left. Cassius Clay was in control. Watch. By now, those at ringside could see how discouraged Liston was. That blood was going into his mouth. But there was an unforeseen element to enter into this fight, one that caused doubt for years to come in the minds of those present, the press, the broadcasters, and the viewers on television. That doubt will show itself at the end of round 4. You will see footage you've not seen before. That's the end of the round, and Cassius Clay went to his corner. It was there that the strange scene occurred. Look at Clay. He can't see. He's crying. In effect, he's saying, "Cut my gloves off. I've had it." His corner man, his trainer, the man with him from the beginning, the man who taught him to become the great fighter he became, was Angelo Dundee. And he kept wiping Cassius Clay's eyes with that sponge in the water. But do you know what he did before he did that? Being the best corner man in all of boxing, he realized instinctively what had happened to Clay. He realized that Liston's forehead, covered with an acidic solution, Monzel's solution they called it, had rubbed against Clay's eyes, had gotten into them, and so the fighter was temporarily blinded. And Dundee knew that if he cut those gloves off, if Ali couldn't go back into the ring, the Muslims in the corner, I called him Ali, I corrected Clay at that moment, that he would be blamed. that indeed, in his mind, his life might be jeopardized. So he took the sponge and tested his own eyes with the sponge in the water and satisfied himself that it could wipe the liniment away. And that's the sponge. And that was the water that he rubbed into Clay's eyes. So Cassius Clay came out and fought the 5th round and survived successfully. We will pick up with the 6th round in a moment.
Now, this here's an oil for you and me from the good oil boys at STP. 15,000 miles it goes, and that's some oil. Goodness knows.
This STP motor oil is a good oil made great with a special blend of additives. Goes 15,000 miles between changes. That's a mighty long way. But STP wanted your car to have their best at a price that's best for you.
You get this oil naturally from the good oil boys at STP.
Schlitz Light. Schlitz Light beer has a third fewer calories than our other fine beer, and all the taste beer drinkers expect from Schlitz.
Is that what that guy always drinks?
That's his beer. It's the only light beer with gusto.
I'll have a Schlitz Light.
Take it, too.
Beer drinkers know it took Schlitz to bring the taste to light.
Sunday. Nobody does it like Bond, the man with the golden gun.
There have been many imitations, but there is only one. Schlotsky. Except no substitute skis. 3 hearty meats, 3 zesty cheeses, and that's only the beginning of the original Slotsky. Wherever you are, there's a Slotsky near you. Slotskys take a little longer, so call ahead. Slotskys, the only sandwich we make. It's that good.
Now at Josky's, save 10 to 40% on our entire stock of furniture, bedding, and floor coverings during the semi-annual home sale. Colorful table toppings from Reed Handcrafts, including quilted placemats, runners, and plain napkins are just $129 to $10.99. Every piece of Sealy bedding in every size and every firmness is now $39 to $299. From DeVille, we've got sofas, love seats, and chairs priced from $288 to $488. And there's more during the semi-annual home sale now at Josky's.
Sweet November, tonight at 11 on 24.
Over my right shoulder, you see Tampa Field, a live picture of Tampa. And tomorrow night, the NFL's Pro Bowl will take place there, the AFC's finest against the NFC's finest. I'll be joining Howard Cosell and Don Meredith. Don Meredith is right there now. He surprised us all. He found Tampa. So let's join Don right now for a report on the Pro Bowl.
Thank you, Frank. Being a Los Angeles resident these days, I'm not going to be the only one that misses this gentleman this next year. And I've got to ask him why. Chuck Knox, you have been to Buffalo, haven't you?
I certainly have, Don, and I'm looking forward to getting to Buffalo in a not too distant future because we've got a great job to do there. It's a wonderful opportunity for me, and I'm just ready to go to work.
Chuck, all right. Now, I know there's a lot of reasons, but why did you leave Los Angeles? You weren't fired. You had some more years on your contract, and yet you left a great football team, possibly one of the best 3 or 4 teams in football, to go do a rebuilding job in Buffalo. And that's the one they say that who wants to go to Buffalo? It's so cold, but there you are.
Well, the reason I accepted it was because of the challenge that exists there, and the chance to go in there and structure a program that hopefully will make the Buffalo Bills a competitive football team year in and year out. And I think that's what pro football is all about. And if we can do that and get that done where that every year we have a winning football team, that every year we're fighting, knocking on that door to get into those playoffs, why, we will have done our job.
All right, there's a lot of rumors that have been going around as to why, and other people are trying to figure out why anybody would leave Los Angeles with the kind of team that you had. One of the rumors that's been around is that O.J. Simpson will be kind of in the swapped Los Angeles for you. Is there any truth to that?
There's no truth whatsoever to that. There's no compensation involved in my going to Buffalo. We want O.J. Simpson in Buffalo. We want him to play there. He's got 3 or 4 more years left. He's one of the greatest running backs in the history of the game, and that's our posture.
Chuck, good luck, and I thank you very much. So I'll see you in Buffalo. And I tell you, Frank, that's about it here from Tampa. Except we sure do miss you. We'll see you tomorrow night. So back to you, Frank.
Okay, immediately following today's telecast, I'll be joining Don Meredith in Tampa for the telecast tomorrow night of the Pro Bowl, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Of course, I'll be with Howard Cosell. We'll be joining him in a moment, but first some pro basketball scores. This afternoon it was Kansas City over New Jersey, 105-97. Cleveland, paced by Campy Russell's 20 points, beat Atlanta 93-89. Despite 31 points by Atlanta's John Drew, Milwaukee beat Chicago 112-90. New Orleans took Detroit 100-97. It was Seattle over Boston 103-92. Dave Cowens had 33 in the losing cause there for Boston. Philadelphia's also won. They beat Golden State 99-87. Lloyd Free had 20 for the 76ers. Julius Erving had 17. College basketball, an upset as unranked Florida State went into Louisville and beat the 7th-ranked Louisville team 70-66. Nicky Dillard of Florida State had 24 points to lead Florida State. Okay, interesting fight. Looking back, I was there when that took place between Sonny Liston and Cassius Clay. So, let's
this was round 6, February 25, 1964, Miami Beach Convention Center. Cassius Clay now had his full visibility back. He could see the opponent, a tired old man. The bully in him wiped away. All of the years of staring down opponents, a thing of the past. The youngster scoring, it seemed at will, with the quickness of hands. The Liston head, an open target, as you watch. There was no defense any longer. The discouragement on Liston's face was not a thing he could shroud. You will see on close-up shots to come the swelling of the left cheekbone, the redness, the scars, and even the blood. It seemed a brutal thing at this point, but the crowd now realized what was happening. So did all of us at ringside. The young man had made every boast stick. None of us really understood the liniment scene. Not then. That took later explanation. But what happened within the four corners of the ring, that was clear. You could not see a more masterful performance of boxing. In a way, this too seemed a precursor. The befuddlement of Liston, in its own way, similar, as would be ascertained in later years, to the befuddlement of another big, strong, powerhouse puncher named George Foreman in Zaire, Kinshasa, Zaire, in the wee small hours of the morning. But this was Cassius Clay. Not dancing, not moving, because he no longer had to. The swiftness of the hands was enough. Sonny Liston was exposed, beaten, done away with. There would be an excuse to come, an attempt to place doubt on all that had happened. But as you watch this fight, there could be no doubt. Coming to the end of round 6, it would be the end of Sonny Liston. Sonny dejectedly goes back to his corner, sits down. Now watch, in previously unseen footage, what happens in the corner of that ring. Sonny Liston's corner. There will be no attention given during all of this time to the shoulder. No. He will be sponged. Yes, there. They are rubbing the shoulder, but that's pro forma. Then the ice pack to the face. The major problem right there. That left eye, that left cheek, down to the lip. The vision shrouded by the swelling and by the cut. Now it's over. And the youngster goes berserk. He does the shuffle right there. He didn't realize that he did it there when later, in the fall of '66, he said, I discovered this against Cleveland Williams, and there is the beaten man. It seemed hard to believe at that point that he had been so feared, that the left had once seemed like a lamppost, but that's the way it was. And Cassius Clay still, then in ring center, is joined by what seemed to be a young announcer. But the now Ali is right. I'm not the man I used to be. At that point in time, I did not have hair. Now, it is clear that I do. And so, Cassius Clay became the heavyweight champion of the world and told us next day, I am Muhammad Ali.
El Toro and the Matador. And between them, 2 sheets of St. Regis plastic. Altogether, only 10/1000ths of an inch thick. Can the bull get through to the bullfighter? Watch. How could these 2 thin sheets of plastic hold back a charging bull? Each sheet is actually made of 2 different high-performance plastics, extruded simultaneously. But this is just one of the surprising plastics St. Regis makes. As a leading maker of plastic film, we can engineer plastic sheets to do all kinds of unexpected things. And this is what St. Regis is all about, bringing technology into the marketplace in every product we make. St. Regis, serving man and nature to the benefit of both.
Next Saturday, the second race in the World Series of Auto Racing, featuring the International Race of Champions. Then on the Pro Bowlers Tour, the top shot makers compete live for $100,000. ABC's Wide World of Sports features Alfredo Escalera defending his World Junior Lightweight Championship against Alexis Arguello. Plus, Franz Klaver in the World Alpine Skiing Championships and the Hialeah Invitational Horse Race. All this next Saturday on ABC.
Earlier in the telecast, I used the word fascinating to describe the kind of footage you were going to see in the pivotal fights of the now Muhammad Ali's career. And so you saw him, as Cassius Clay at age 18, a kind of frail light heavyweight, win the gold medal at Rome in 1960. And then you saw that stunning and in some ways weird victory with the liniment scene and the shoulder scene as Liston failed to come out for the 7th on February 25th, 1964, when Cassius Clay became the heavyweight champion of the world. I'll never forget the scene the next day when he faced all of us with open defiance, with a kind of independent pride, and said, "My name is Muhammad Ali." And so it was from that time on. But through all of the vagaries that followed and vicissitudes the remainder of his career up till now, the toughest fight of all was yet to come. In truth, it wasn't a fight. In truth, it was a war, and it seemed like neither man could survive. It happened in Manila. He dubbed it the Thriller in Manila. It happened on October 1st, 1975. It was his 3rd and final fight against Smokin' Joe Frazier. We're going to show you the essence of that fight later in this telecast.
The International Ice Review continues from the Velodrome in Montreal. And on the ice, the Canadian national pair champions, Don Frazier and Candy Jones, skating to the music from the stage production of Company.
You'll remember that we showed you the first two pivotal fights in the career of the current heavyweight champion of the world and now Muhammad Ali. The first one was when, as a youth of 18 in the Italian Sports Palace in Rome, Italy, 1960, as an almost frail-looking light heavyweight, he won the gold medal by beating a tough Polish southpaw named Ziggy Pietrzykowski. And then the almost weird chain of events on that February 25th, 1964, when still, as Cassius Clay, age 22, he won the heavyweight championship of the world, destroying the myth of Sonny Liston. The next day, he became Muhammad Ali, and the rest you know about. The vicissitudes, the ups and downs, the 3.5 years of enforced idleness after the rejection of military induction, the vindication by the Supreme Court. Now we want to take you to the toughest fight of his life, and I think the greatest fight ever fought. It happened on October 1st, 1975. Manila, the Philippine Islands, the thriller in Manila. We pick up with second round action, Ali against Frazier, third time around. Watch for the right lead. It became the dominant blow of the fight. Watch, it's about to come up. And there's a reason. There it is. And you saw Frazier's head snap back. Ali would use it again and again throughout the fight. It is a gambling blow against the right-handed fighter. It is an intensely destructive blow against a southpaw fighter. There you saw it again. But Ali knew something. He knew that in the very beginning of Joe Frazier's boxing life, as an amateur, that Joe was a southpaw. And he had developed a habit that lived with him throughout his boxing career. He converted to being a right-hander. Southpaws don't get fights easily in this country. Witness a fellow named Ronnie Harris. But Joe kept the tendency to keep the left hand low, leaving himself open for the right, a habit that a southpaw invariably has. That's why Ali would risk the right lead again and again and again against Joe Frazier and make it work. As you watch Joe, you'll see where he keeps the left. The right is up, the left is down. He comes almost from the belly with the left when he throws it. And a pulverizing left it has always been. But in the second round, Ali established his fight. Now, in the first 4 rounds, Ali would dominate. It became a war, a battle for survival. And it was in the 5th round, and that ended the second with that gesture of disdain. It was in the 5th round that Joe Frazier began to take over. Ali would be pinioned in his corner. Joe would be working to the stomach, the blows leveled to the kidneys. And you had to wonder how Ali could survive, how he could stay there. Yes, he tried the rope-a-dope. He would paw occasionally, hold behind the head, as you see, but he would not move. He would try to contain his strength. He would wave to Frazier in a braggadocio kind of way. Come ahead, come ahead. But it was acting. It was Ali acting. Because when a Joe Frazier hits you, as often as he hit Ali, in the belly and about the kidneys, it numbs you. You can't move the way you might want to move. And so throughout this 5th round, from midpoint on, it was Frazier. And in the ensuing rounds, it would be substantially Frazier. And they would get to the 10th round, which you will see in just a few seconds. And you will understand why after the 10th round, as he later explained his feelings, Ali would say it was the closest thing to death. And Joe Frazier would tell me, I hit him with blows that would have knocked walls down. But neither man went down. Not ever. 2 of the greatest fighters who have ever lived in a brutal war.
Excuse me, sir. I'd like you to try something.
Okay.
Hold out your hands.
Hey, what is that?
That's Track 2 shave cream, and that's another brand. Feel any different?
The Track 2 feels heavier.
That's because the Track 2 is heavier. It's packed with moisturizers.
Moisturizers?
They help hold the moisture in your skin so your face feels good after you shave.
After I shave?
It'll feel soft and moisturized.
Great. Wait, what do I do now?
Shave?
Track 2, heavy with moisturizers.
Guilty. Not guilty. 6 votes guilty, 6 votes not guilty.
Molly, Cam.
It could go on all day. Bailiff! Pass out the right guard deodorant.
Good.
We got stick or spray. Right guard deodorant has all-day odor protection. Kills bacteria that can cause odor. Stick or spray protects all day. 6 took stick, 6 took spray. It's unanimous.
Right guard deodorant. Don't get dressed without it.
This is Jim McKay reporting live from Pebble Beach, California, and you're looking at Ray Floyd, the current leader in the 37th Bing Crosby National Pro-Am. Ray Floyd at 9 under par is on the 13th hole right now, and there are the others. Tom Watson, the defending champion, just 2 strokes behind. Then Gibby Gilbert, Ben Crenshaw, Hale Irwin, Don Bees, and a comeback story, Marty Fleckman. We'll be reporting live from here right after Wide World of Sports, 5 to 7 Eastern Time on the 3rd round of the Crosby. Now back to Howard Cosell.
This was about a minute into the 10th round, and you could sense the shifting of the tide. Where Frazier had pummeled Ali throughout the middle rounds to the kidneys and to the midsection, and Ali had refused to knuckle under, one had to realize all over again the hidden asset of Muhammad Ali. Hidden in the sense that it had rarely been written about as you watch the right score to the head again. The right lead that turned the fight for Ali. Because the fact never publicized in its entirety was that nobody could take a punch better than Muhammad Ali. And so here in the 10th round, having survived the best of Frazier, the worst for Ali, he showed an ability to come back. And yet, both men showed unmistakable fatigue in this round. They were wearing down. The swelling was growing around Frazier's eyes. The puffiness increasing around the cheeks. Somehow, puffiness hadn't yet registered in Ali's face. You would see it after the fight, clearly, sharply defined. But during the fight, no. Somehow, through all of his career, Ali seemed unknown. But here, again, pinioned against the ropes, you will see the difference between this round and the 5th round. Ali comes out from the ropes and scores heavily to the face, then covers up. And Frazier is not throwing the blows as swiftly and as many as he did in the 5th round. No, it is a different fight now. You can see it beginning to change. Maybe almost invisible if you were at ringside, but you could sense that it was happening. That Ali could now measure Frazier again and score with those blows to the face. And that Joe Frazier was wearing down, even as Ali seemed to have in the earlier rounds. And coming to the end of this round, you will see the total exhaustion there in Ali. This was what he called the closest thing to death.
Company! Dismiss!
Well, the training's rough, you know, the sergeant's tough. Now it's all behind, got blue ribbon on my mind. I've got blue ribbon on my mind. More and more lately I find I've got a taste for living. I'm thinking cold blue ribbon. I've got Pabst blue ribbon on my mind.
Naturally good Pabst. A lot to look forward to. Ford introduces Futura, a dramatic combination of styling and technology for 1978 and beyond. Futura, designed by computer modeling and aerodynamic testing. It can provide excellent fuel economy and room for 5 passengers as well. Futura, designed for 1978 and beyond. Realistically priced for today. See your Ford dealer for a personal test drive.
Next Saturday on ABC's Wide World of Sports, Alfredo Escalera puts his lightweight crown on the line against his toughest opponent, the legendary Alexis Arguello, the former featherweight title holder, unbeaten as champion with 55 victories, 45 of them knockouts. And Franz Plummer in the World Alpine Skiing Championships, which begins the countdown to the 1980 American Olympics at Lake Placid. And the Hialeah Invitational Horse Race, all next Saturday on ABC.
By the start of the 13th round, it was anybody's fight. Both fighters seemed utterly exhausted. But in the 13th, suddenly, out of nowhere, Ali drew upon some apparently inexhaustible resource. And he was moving on his toes. And clearly it had a tremendous psychological impact upon a tired Joe Frazier. And Ali was able to score repeatedly, as you see right here, with the quick blows to the head. It didn't seem possible, after the beating he had taken in the middle rounds, that he could come back this way. But he did, and in its own way, that's another mark of his greatness through all he is as a champion. Looking on the toes, dancing, waiting for Frazier, covering up well, and Joe clearly not with the snap in his punches. The arms almost listed, and it was a Frazier running downhill. Now watch. There! That quick right, and the mouthpiece went out of the ring itself, followed by another right, and all those blows in combination, consecutively, to the Frazier head. And now, Muhammad Ali had taken complete control of the fight. One couldn't have possibly guessed that this would have happened. And he lay there over the ropes at the end of the 10th round, and later stood there and told everyone that it was indeed the closest thing to death. What you just saw was another cascade of blows upon the Frazier head. And now it didn't seem possible that Joe could keep fighting, but he kept coming on. And the fatal Frazier mistake. Too often, the same mistake he made against George Foreman, when twice he was blistered by George. Keep coming in. Now, there, you saw Frazier stagger, clearly terribly hurt, but no, the will not permitting him to go down. Ali falling backwards, the head through the ropes, but not from a blow. And now, Ali quickly working to the head again. This is when you wonder about boxing and worry about the punishment that a fighter takes, especially to the head, and the future damage it can cause to the whole of his life. But somehow, Joe Frazier came out of it fine, and today sings and dances and even talks of a comeback. One hopes not. But there in the 13th round, the mouthpiece went, still struggling to survive. But Ali just hit him again and again. That's the end of the 13th. Now, the mouthpiece blow. Watch. The right, and there went the mouthpiece. From then on, it was all downhill for Joe Frazier. The 14th round coming up.
Excuse me, sir. What's going to help that beautiful car last?
Quaker State Motor Oil.
If you like our motor oil, you'll love our oil filter. Hey there, what helps more cars avoid expensive engine repairs?
Quaker State.
If you like our motor oil, you'll love our oil filter. Pardon me, friend, what's America's best-selling motor oil? Quaker State. If you like our motor oil, you'll love our oil filter.
It's your face, that chick. Love it. It's your face, that chick. Love it. It's your face, that chick. Love it.
Push, pull, click, click. The Schick Injector System loves your face this quick. Push, pull, click, click, and you lock a Teflon-coated blade into place for a really smooth, close shave.
It's your face, that chick. Love it.
Schick Injector System, regular or twin blades.
Frank Gifford back in our ABC studios in New York. We have an NBA score for you. The New York Knickerbockers have handed Denver only a second home loss of the season today, 143-141 in overtime. The Knicks needed a game-tying shot by Jim McMillan at the buzzer in regulation time to make it all possible. Bob McAdoo had 39 for New York, while David Thompson had 37 and Dan Issel 36 for Denver. Denver had won 19 straight at home. Moving to tennis, Cliff Drysdale has defeated Tom Gorman 7-6, 6-4 to win the National Indoor Tennis Championship in Baltimore. Let's go back to Howard Cosell.
We pick up with action in the 14th round. Almost incredible, the fights between these two. 3 times around. Who can measure the punishment each has administered to the other? And yet there is Ali, still dancing. And there is Frazier, still trying to come on, but taking those blows to the head. And now it's Joe Frazier who's holding on, because he is struggling. He took a tremendous beating in the 13th round, the loss of the mouthpiece, and then the succession of blows to the head. Now in the 14th round, it's more of same. And Ali somehow still punching sharply, crisply. Where, by way of contrast, Frazier's blows are now without crispness, without pace, without snap. And there, again, the punishment to the head. And Frazier's hands are at his side. There's a minute to go in this, the 14th round, and look at that. It's not the kind of thing you like to see. And yet the man won't go down. You wish for his sake somehow the official would stop it. But no. The fight had been too even going into the 13th round. And Ali here is strong at will. And he knows it. And somehow within a great fighter, there is the sense of knowing when you're in charge, and knowing how to stay in charge, how not to leave yourself open. Capacities that Ali has always had. And now he senses the kill. But he's holding on. The blood is coming out of Frazier's mouth, as you will see clearly in the tight shot in just a few seconds. And Ali is polishing off his opponent. Professionally, the way one of the great champions of all time can do it. And against one of the greatest champions of all time. Now look at Ali, sitting there, himself used up, exhausted. But now let's go to Joe Frazier's game. You can see Frazier, how beaten up the face is. He wants to go on. The smelling salts. And you will see that blood come out of the mouth. Leaning over. Now turning back. Eddie Futch, his manager. And this you'll like to see. He has just told the referee that it's over. That Joe cannot come out. And barely able to stand, Ali gets up, raises the right hand aloft. He is the winner and still the heavyweight champion of the world. But for anybody who's ever followed boxing, and look how exhausted Ali is there, Joe Frazier will forever be a champion of the world. And that's the way it was on October 1st, Manila, the Philippine Islands.